Almost everybody agrees that Michael Jordan is the GOAT because, in the eyes of most people, there's nobody who's reached his level of greatness. MJ was an unstoppable force when he was in the league, with a playoff average no one has been able to replicate. His scoring averages in regular season games were also incredible, arguably making him the best of the best. But what was the secret sauce that helped him become the greatest of all time? First off, what does it take to become MJ? It took a lot of things for MJ to become as amazing as he is. He was as far from a one-dimensional player as any player has ever been, particularly early on in his career, when his offensive toolbox included amazing dunks as well as mid-range shots. One of the main reasons Jordan is the greatest player ever is his defense. He could shut down literally anyone. That wasn't all there was to it though. Jordan's relentless will to succeed, be the greatest, and win made him who he was. Only a few players have ever been as driven as he was because he used criticism to push himself and become better. Next up, what was his best skill? No, it wasn't the iconic dunk. Many people have highlighted all the qualities that made Michael Jordan an incredible NBA player, but the player himself highlighted one quality that's usually overlooked. Michael Jordan said that his biggest strength was being a coachable 6'6" sponge who dunked basketballs into the hoop and was willing to pick up new skills. Considering he was the biggest star ever in his prime, it might sound surprising to know that he was the kind of athlete who paid attention to instruction and used the advice he was given, but he did. That's not to suggest that his other skills weren't a contributing factor to his success though. Stephen Marbury once commented on his admiration for Michael's basketball skills, which are beyond extraordinary. Let's learn more about what Marbury said. Marbury claims that despite having a lot of dazzle in his name, nobody ever recognizes Jordan's flashiness. He believed that instead of merely passing the ball around the court, the player was palming the ball as he passed it. In other words, he had the power to direct the basketball in any direction. There's no denying that a player needs all the right things to connect in order to reach MJ's level, but one of the biggest challenges to improving is mustering up the drive to do better. There are a lot of guys today that could benefit from having a can-do attitude like MJ had, but since most of them don't and are in it for the money, they fail to measure up to his level. Michael Jordan is regarded as a basketball icon. The six-time NBA champion's biggest strength was his drive to develop and learn new things. So let's trace back MJ's steps and take a look at where it all began. Up next, MJ's early career. Jordan joined the NBA in 1984 after graduating from a university in North Carolina. In his first season, Jordan averaged 28.2 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. Not to mention that year was also the year that Magic Mike made his first appearance at an All-Star game. Michael Jordan ruled, triumphed, and reigned over his rivals over the next several years, and the league, hearing the swish of the basket every time he scored, made them realize that he was going to achieve big things in the future. Once MJ understood and appreciated the value of his teammates, things started to improve for him. This happened in the late 1980s, just before Scottie Pippen and Phil Jackson joined his team. From the moment he stepped onto the hardwood floor, Michael Jordan had the skill to compete against the best the league had to offer. But what set him apart from the competition was his determination, passion, and willingness to improve his skills, especially by listening to his coaches. Now for how important being coachable is. The fact that MJ was coachable is what helped him win 6 NBA titles, 6 NBA MVPs, 6 NBA Finals MVPs, and several other accolades. It's obvious that talent alone isn't enough to bring you success. What matters is how you use that talent. There have been many players in the league who had the skills to be regarded as the best players in the history of the game, but they were still unable to match MJ because they weren't willing to use advice from their coaches. Those that are eager to learn, irrespective of their age or level of skill, tend to do extremely well. So the secret sauce is hard work and being coachable. Following up, why there will never be another MJ. If you look closely and talk to enough people in the league, including players in their 20s and 40s, coaches, recruiters, star makers, flameouts, and false prophets, you'll discover traces of MJ's DNA all over the place. Nowadays, the closest thing to being as good as Jordan is probably a guy like Russell Westbrook. He has the type of talent that we don't see on the court anymore. For instance, Kawhi Leonard's footwork is the same as what all the other guys are doing right now. But if you look up, you'll notice that LeBron James is shining Jordan's number 23 on his chest, paying tribute to the ultimate player of this era. If you look down, you can see Jimmy Butler, Chris Paul, and Blake Griffin, all part of the Jordan brand team with the iconic Jumpman logo, which features Michael Jordan's silhouette in midair. The bitter truth is that Michael Jordan's era, at least as we knew it, is over, and we probably won't get another GOAT like him. But because of the game's fast growth and the passage of time, a new generation of stars has emerged who don't like to be compared to GOATs like MJ or Kobe. So Steph is just Steph, Russ Westbrook is just Russ Westbrook, and the effort to bring back Michael Jordan has, alas, come to an end. Let's look at what it means to be like MJ. You can argue that the next Michael Jordan isn't any of the guys who are in the NBA right now, but it's not about the basic stuff. It's about whether or not they are approaching the game the same way he did. That's what it means to be a Michael or Kobe, and that's what the NBA should be searching for if a GOAT is what they want. While growing up in Compton, California, in the 1990s and 2000s, as an example, DeRozan had a clear idea of what he wanted to do with his life, and he attempted to copy what Jordan and Kobe did. But even if DeRozan might feel MJ's presence within him, you'll quickly come to the realization that there will only ever be one Michael Jordan. What's more, Michael Jordan was a showman. Michael Jordan was recognized by former Dallas Mavericks superstar Jason Kidd as the fiercest opponent he ever met. That makes sense too, because Michael Jordan was one of the best players to ever grace the NBA court. MJ dominated the league from the moment he became a pro at the age of 21 and built one of the association's most impressive records. His airness has embarrassed a number of defenders throughout the course of his illustrious 15-year career, and Jason Kidd was one of those people that the Chicago Bulls icon was able to defeat like it was just another day at the park. Kidd said that despite having a winning record against airness, the Black Jesus is the strongest opponent Kidd has ever faced. In reality, Michael Jordan was the kind of player who could rush to the hoop, jump all around you, score a jump shot, and make sure you knew about it. So it makes sense why Kidd said that. The former Dallas Mavericks icon claimed in an old interview that MJ would put on a show every night he played and do it all. Go to the basket, leap, shoot, and even add in some trash talk to spice things up. Finally, is MJ truly the GOAT? In conclusion, who's the best opponent J-Kidd has ever faced? Kobe Bryant is a close second, but Michael Jordan takes the cake because he showed up with full force for every game, every night. When MJ was on the court, he shocked his fans consistently because you never knew how many points he was going to score. 40, 50, or 60? It didn't matter, because everyone knew he would never let his teammates, coaches, or fans down. He always popped off and put on a show, and while he was doing it, he was one of the most difficult players to guard, because once he got close to the basket, it was game over. He'd dribble the heck out of that ball, shoot his signature jump shot, and in the end, he'd make sure that he made a big deal out of it. But what do you think? Is he actually the GOAT, or do you think there could be another player better than him in the making? Let us know in the comments below. And with that, that concludes today's video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more awesome content just like this.